Hi guys, welcome back to CB&J. So this week we're looking at an indie game called Dungeon Souls. And we want to thank Lamina Studios for providing 2 Steam keys for us. Very much
awesome,
appreciated. That was really, really cool.
Thanks, guys.
So everything that we're going to say about the game is our thoughts and not really influenced by that.
From the heart.
From the heart. From the Dungeon Souls.
Oh.
So, what did you think? I thought this was really cool.
I thought it was insane. I really enjoyed it. I was really, like, the graphics and stuff got my attention straight away. I really like that 8-bit sort of style of pixelated graphics, but
yeah,
you can have that and then have really like clunky gameplay, but this is really smooth, I found.
Yeah, I've seen a few other games that look very similar to this, but the gameplay is rubbish.
Yeah.
Like they've got a really good artist, but then like on the back ends with the programming and like the elements and like how you actually interact with the game, it just doesn't feel solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not that. We actually got the chance to speak to the developers a little bit, and so basically they told us that the game is inspired by other games like Nuclear Throne, Risk of Rain, Overture, those sorts of games.
Yep.
And they've also brought in a few elements from like Dark Souls and like Spelunky and things like that, which is kind of cool. And Binding of Isaac, which you can see,
Definitely
you can actually see a bit of that in there.
Yeah, definitely like, taken from, I can definitely see how it comes from Dark Souls and Spelunky. I reckon the major one was probably Binding of Isaac, sort of like levels and stuff like that, gradually going on. Yeah, it was really good. And there were reappearing enemies, which I saw. Yeah. Which was interesting. It kept me on my toes. I was exploring around. There's like a little map in the top right corner, but I still found myself trying to find out if like I'd missed anything. And every now and again, an enemy would sneak up on me, like a ghost or tall black eggplant looking dude.
Yes, there was like an eggplant guy coming after you.
Yep.
And sometimes they would spawn and they would be the aggroed or powered up version of them.
Oh, okay.
So you'd just be standing around. And that's what I liked about this game. So you're standing there, you've just killed a wave of enemies and you want to do your upgrade. And you go, I'm just going to spend my time, choose one of these, and then all of a sudden I'm getting hit.
Yep.
And an enemy is just spawned out of nowhere.
Yep.
And I like that because it meant that I couldn't just stop and think. It had to keep going, had to keep playing.
Keep you on your toes.
Keep you on your toes. Like you're never really safe. And that's a good element because a lot of games these days sort of hold your hand a bit too much, and there's so much thinking time in between everything that you can go into every situation very prepared if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas this one, you had to keep going.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So I guess we'll talk about the main elements of the game. So at the start of the game, you have to choose a character. I think you chose Archer.
First playthrough, I choose the Barbarian.
Oh, you chose Barbarian? Yeah. I chose Archer.
Yeah, nice.
First playthrough, yeah.
Yeah, I usually go Barbarian because I'm a bit of a lazy bastard sometimes, so I'm like, let's go the easiest class. Barbarian can take a lot of hits, usually pretty strong, a bit slow. I know how to play him in most other games.
Yeah.
This sort of threw it on its head a bit.
Yeah.
So I found that I couldn't just walk up to enemies and hit them straight away. I had to bait them. You have to walk up to them and they try and hit you straight away. There's no lag time in between, no weak point. So you got to tempt them first, they'll try and attack, and while they're waiting for the next attack, you hit them. Yeah. So that that threw me off a bit straight away.
Yeah, so you choose your class, then you start the game, and it's level based. So basically you start on level 1, you have to clear out however many, I'm going to call them enemy circles there are.
Yep.
I think that sort of makes sense. So you got to clear out however many enemy circles. Each level is randomly generated as well, so when I played the first time, there was 5 enemy circles in the first level, and I was like, cool, that must be what it always is. Then I played the next time, there was actually 3, so it is different.
Gotcha.
When you enter that circle, it activates, and you get surrounded by enemies.
Yes.
So very much the sort of theme of the game, like there's always going to be a lot of enemies around. And you might have to clear out a few enemies before you can even get into that circle in the first place to make more enemies come. But I guess that leads to the next part of the game where you have abilities.
Yeah.
So you've got your 3 main abilities for most classes. So with the Archer, basically you could have like multiple arrows and that activates for a period of time and you can just blast
like a shotgun
guys.
Blast, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. What was the Barbarian?
I believe I had Rage was one of them.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ability because I remember with the Barbarian, I got through the first boss and he just slayed me. He just killed me, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to play him again. So I went with Archer as well.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I know the Archer's abilities really well. You're right. So the first one's a normal shot.
Yeah.
Second one's that shotgun shot, which lasts for like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And then the third one was like it's like a ring of arrows, like a dedicated like AOE attack, which rains down arrows, which I found was really, really good to clearing those.
That's perfect for those circles. Yeah.
Yeah, like you see them appearing, and as you do it, like which put the circle down, and they tend to be dead straight away.
Which was kind of cool, and I guess a bit of the early access-ness came into it. So obviously the game's not finished yet. The developers are telling us that they're still about 10 months away from finishing. So
that's awesome.
I was actually able to get characters that I hadn't unlocked, even though I shouldn't be able to play them.
Yeah, that's right. You were talking to me about that.
Yeah, so you can choose random, and then it just, and then you get a guy, and I managed to get like a necromancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't see that in the list before, and so he was pretty cool. Like you're running around, and it's sort of like a bit of a cheeky character. Rather than going into the circle and fighting yourself, you go and activate it, and then you just like throw minions in there, and just like
Come on, guys,
do my bidding.
You got it.
And so they would sort of fight for you, which I thought that was cool because like, every character has a very different playstyle. Things I only found out recently, so obviously you've got your stat points that you can update, so you can basically add points into strength or defense, or one of the things that I mainly focused on was attack speed.
Yeah.
I feel like if I can get more attacks out, then I can sort of get them as fast as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was throwing a lot into attack speed, and then I was trying to buy upgrades at the shops that would give me more damage rather than putting points into damage, and so I could just like fire out as many arrows as possible.
Yeah.
That seemed to work pretty well. Then another element on top of that I found is you actually can have permanent increases.
Okay.
So whilst this is definitely a roguelike game where you play it, you die, you have to start from the start, you actually get to keep that incremental gold.
Oh, okay.
And so what you can do is go back in, and I didn't find this out until a few playthroughs because I'm a male and I decided not to read the tutorial.
I'm also guilty of that.
You go back and there's a section and you can basically say, all right, I'll pay 2,000 gold, for example, and it'll give me 0.3 HP per second.
Okay, so yeah, like so permanent increases, like you said.
Permanent little buffs.
Yeah, yeah.
And things like that.
Sweet.
Which is cool. So they meant that the more you played it, the easier it would get for you to get through those first few levels, because you can sort of either make yourself a bit stronger or have regenerative abilities or better mana or defense or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so they're very expensive. They get more and more expensive. And that sort of reminded me a little bit of Rogue Legacy.
That's, you know, I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
So Rogue Legacy, which we both absolutely adore,
so
just an amazing game. That every time you die, you get to keep your gold, and you can put some elements into your skills, and then every single time it gets a bit easier every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I found after doing that I was able to get through the first boss, the Skeleton King, who I had massive difficulty the first time. A lot of that bullet hell sort of thing going on. You get in and he actually talks to you because they've got voice actors. And it's cool. I think when we were talking to the developers, they said some of the independent work that went into the game actually came from Australia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Our country. So we're very happy with that. Respect.
Yep.
Yeah, so you jump in, he says something like, I'm going to kill you sort of thing. And then, just stuff comes out everywhere. He's like, take my minions, and starts going at you. And first few times, he got me. Absolutely destroyed me. And I liked that, because games these days are just way too easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Way too easy. So that was really cool. Got through that, got through the next levels. The enemies get harder and harder. Eventually, I got to an area where there was like cubes that spawn in the circle.
Okay.
And so when you kill the cubes, they would split into two smaller cubes.
Oh,
so you couldn't just do that one special ability and be like, all right, I've done the circle, move on, because there was just so much other things happening.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, it does get a lot harder.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So once you finish all the circles, the portal opens up in the middle, and then you go to the next level.
Yep.
And you were saying you saw something, but you didn't quite know what it was?
Yeah, like at the end of the level, when I cleared out everything and when I did all the circles, it said that like something about a Redeemer, and I didn't really pay much mind to it because nothing ever happened. I never really stuck around though. I was just like, oh, sounds like something bad's going to happen. I'll just get out of here.
Yeah,
so,
the Redeemer has arrived.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what can I redeem?
So
not that way.
The first time I played it, I was very, very innocent. Finished the level, I was like, oh, I guess I finished the level. I'll just have a look around, see if I can find any more crates, get some more coins. And then, the Redeemer has arrived, and then there's this little bar, and once it gets full, he actually comes out.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it was a boss, because the first time I played, so I didn't know what was going on. So I thought, okay, cool, I've done all this, now there's a mini boss, then I'll go to the next level. I just assume that's how the game was. That's not what happened.
Oh, no.
So the Redeemer comes after you, and he's quite large, and he's not affected by the game collision system and stuff like that. He can just sort of float anywhere.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so he'll start following you, and then he'll just like sap away your health, and he'll just kill you.
Jeez.
So
So it's just like a non-defeatable.
So even if you
hurry
finish
your
the
ass
level, you still don't get to really stand around and recoup. You've got to keep going.
Yeah.
Which I like
That's
that.
awesome,
Like
yeah.
if you're gonna play, you got to be in it to win it, and you got to keep playing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
So something I found in my playthrough was I came across this little bookshelf and I was like, what the hell is this? Like it was a little gold one. I'm like, I can't destroy it. What's happening here? So
Right.
I think I walked up and like pressed attack on it, which is also activate.
Right.
It said something about like forbidden something, and I clicked on it and it teleported me and it said forbidden library. I'm like,
Oh well. Okay.
what have I done?
What happened?
I was a completely different area. Everything was gold, and there were like, instead of being skeletons and stuff, like the first areas, it was all like mages.
Oh right.
And I was like, oh, this guy shouldn't be so bad. Next minute they're throwing fire and stuff. And I'm like, oh no, glad I'm an archer. So
So it was like it took you to like a much more difficult zone sort of thing.
I believe so. Yeah. Well, to me it was much more difficult because I was like used to dudes who would just run up and hit you.
Did you survive it? Did you make it through?
I killed it. Yeah, it was awesome. Luckily, I came across a lot of good items which I got from gold and silver chests, and found the gold and silver keys for them. Luckily.
Yeah,
So-
I didn't find any for quite a while. I ended up starting to buy them from the shops.
Oh really? I thought
Yeah.
they came as items.
Yeah.
I was just lucky. I found the chest and then I found the key later, like
Nice.
in the same level. And I'm like, oh, awesome.
I guess that's a cool thing about roguelike games. Like you could have a really lucky run through, or you could have just a terrible one.
Yeah, exactly right.
One thing I came across as well, so it's cool because the game's not finished yet, but there's still quite a few interesting elements, and even after like 3 or 4 playthroughs, I was still coming across stuff that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I remember I got to, it was like level 4 perhaps, and I found a cursed chest,
Oh, what?
which is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And I thought it was going to be like the other games that have cursed chests, like Baldur's Gate 2, when you find like a trapped chest. It's just going to be like a poison trap and like it'll attack you or something.
Yeah.
So I approached it with caution, very gingerly. It's like, gave it a go. And it's not, it doesn't attack you. What it does is gives you an item, which the 2 times that I found a cursed chest, it was very powerful, but it had a very powerful detriment,
Oh.
which was interesting. So you sort of, all right, well, I can take it and it'll give me plus 10 damage or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the Redeemer will arrive immediately after you finish the level.
Ooh,
And so
gotcha.
you had to, it was
Weigh
sort
it
of
up
like,
and-
oh, like, should I get that? Like, I'm doing pretty well right now, but it could get harder and harder later on. It might take longer to get back.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I took a chance, and yeah, it's cool. Like, it was interesting. Like, just added another element to the game. Like, I had to make a choice.
Yeah.
And whilst all that's happening, obviously enemies are still appearing, so I had to make a choice quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it sounds like. This game's a lot about risk versus reward. Like, do you hang around and search a level for loot that you might have missed, or do you rush to get rid of the Redeemer? Or, you know, there's a lot of stuff like that, which is awesome. But yeah, with my playthrough with this Archer,
Yeah.
so I got a lot of great items. I was like smashing it. So, you know, the circles and stuff, did the arrow AoE attack, was awesome. Everything died. And then I got to a boss and I'm like, oh, mate,
Yeah,
please.
jeez.
I died against the first Skeleton King, and I was like, that's because I was a barbarian with nothing, like just a nude barbarian with his fists and 3 of his fingers missing. And I was like, no wonder I died. So as an archer, mate, no worries. So I started against him, had full potions and stuff, thought, gonna wipe his ass with me. That's right.
Well, that's what I would do in that situation.
Unfortunately, that's what actually happened.
That's what actually happened.
So I was like, yeah, this is going to be easy. So he was like absorbing a heap of damage from me. I was like, man, this is tough. And it was almost like a bit of a bullet hell. He was just spraying crap all over the screen. I was dodging and stuff.
Yeah.
Used up all my potions. I had my last potion when I was at about 1/10 of his health.
Oh.
And I'd just gotten some of my abilities back. And I walked into one of his balls and died. And I was like, oh. And this is touching on what you said before. How you said that we're all, like, there's a lot of hand-holding in games these days. That's what happened to me. After that, I rage quit almost. It wasn't a rage quit. It was like a passive-aggressive quit. I was just like, well, all right.
Well, if that's how it's going to be.
That's how you're going to be about it. I'm just going to close you. Yeah, so, like, it's really unfortunate that it's happened to me. You know, like, I'm just used to, having my handheld in games.
Well, I can see that happening, though. I mean, like, I remember the very first playthrough when I jumped in, I stepped on a trap and a boulder appeared and just insta-killed me. And I was like, oh, well, Dungeon Souls, if that's how you're going to be, well then, fuck you.
Mate.
But then I thought, all right, got to give it another shot. And you do have enough time to dodge them.
Yeah.
So it's sort of one of those things where
It's like a learning
if it's your
experience.
first time playing, I could forgive someone for getting disgruntled pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
So I guess there is a tutorial there which neither of us played. I guess one thing that could be improved is maybe forcing people to play that tutorial for the very, very first time and just making it a very quick tutorial.
Yeah.
And just pointing out those traps and things like that. I've already noticed in a recent update that it's gone from click popping up to watch out. So
okay,
they've already
step
sort
on
of
the trap.
improved on so that when you step on it, it actually gives you a visual cue to warn you. So I feel like someone else has given that feedback and they've already worked on it.
Yeah, that works really
Which
well.
is cool. Like, and this is the good thing about a game that's not finished yet. Even though there's a few things that I would probably change and a few things that aren't perfect yet. Like, you know, sometimes the text seems a bit too large or a bit hard to read, little things like that.
Yep.
But you sort of get the feeling that they're going to iron that out before it gets finished.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it. We'll keep playing it and we'll keep seeing how it goes. Guys, if you're watching, this is what we ask everyone that makes a game. Add a co-op.
Oh yes, please. That'd be the only thing.
I'd love to see that because so many games don't give you that option anymore. It'd be really cool to see that. Like 2 people working towards the same goal or 4 people or whatever it is. You get your friends around, it gives you an excuse. So that's something I'd really love to see. And I feel like the engine could support it as well.
Well, I definitely reckon that all the different classes and stuff would work. Like the synergy, if you will, the dynamosity.
Word of the week.
Dynamosity.
That's great.
Yeah, just like how they work together. Like I can imagine being a barbarian and you're a necromancer. Sort of your guys come in and support me.
Yeah, definitely.
Them out,
Like there's a lot of opportunity there. I reckon that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely, I reckon that'd be one of the finishing touches.
So look, if I was giving a little bit of critique, so when I was playing with the keyboard and mouse, very easy to upgrade your abilities, very cohesive. When I was playing with the Xbox controller, you've got to press one button to bring up the skill area where you choose your 3 abilities. Then you've got to press a different button to bring up the stat chart.
Gotcha.
And because it's so fiddly on the controls and the game's still running and enemies are still spawning, I felt it felt a little unfair.
Yeah.
That I had to remember all these buttons to try and just upgrade my character to get into the next battle.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would like to see improved. I think if it detects that I've got the controller plugged in, it'd be kind of cool that if you hit one button, it takes you to an upgrade screen.
And you do everything.
And you got all your abilities there, very clear writing on it so that it's quick, nice and easy. You go, cool, watch one's that, sweet, upgrade. You got your stats there. It just puts it all in one spot.
Yeah.
And I also found with the controller that I didn't know which, it's probably my fault, but I didn't know which potion I was using.
Oh, okay.
And so on the keyboard and mouse, you just hit 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But on the controller, like, I was hitting like left arrow, and I just kept going into a rage. I'm like, I don't want to use my rage right now. So just little things like that, you know, either I could just fucking get over it, or I feel like it would be an improvement to fix those little things. And I feel like they've still got 10 months before they think they're going to be finished with the game and have it fully released. So there's an opportunity to work on some of those things. But other than that, you know, nitpicking aside, the game's already very fun.
Oh, definitely.
You know, the music's good, the sounds are good, like the atmosphere is very good, like you feel quite closed in, and it's quite dark around the area, so like you don't really know what you're going into, and I like that. So overall, I'm very happy with the game.
Same here. And it makes you want to explore as well. You know, like there could be a game where you just sort of like kill all the enemies and you want to go to the next level, but I want to stick around. I want to risk getting a Redeemer on my ass.
Yeah.
Just because there might be some items that I missed and it could really help later on. So
yeah, it's interesting.
You know, it's got that really good feel to it. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. But can't wait to see what you do with the next, guys. We're very excited. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we'll finish up here. So awesome game. Really enjoyed it, guys. If you haven't played it before, we'll have the link in the description. So check it out. Still early access, so still things that are going to be worked on. And yeah. So thanks for your time today, guys, and we'll speak to you soon.
Catch ya.